time for a summer morning walk out to the veggie garden, but I thought I would start with the flower garden in front of the house. There's our friend the hummingbird. Right on cue. And my favorite rugosa roses. They're a winner. They survive in our climate over here. This is just a preview. There's a whole lot of lilies in here, which will be blooming soon. Probably, well, late July, early August. So I've got my watering can ready and we'll head out to the garden. Now that we're in the woods here, I just couldn't resist stopping and taking a few views. We do get a good growth of ferns in here. In the morning, all the birdies are chirping. The dogwood straight ahead is finished blooming, but I always love how it bends down into the pathway with its flowers, which smell really, really nice. So they're making seeds now. And the loud bird just above us is a redstart. Oh, I can see him. That's mostly what we're hearing now. Not surprisingly, I decided to bring more than just the watering can, although I don't have a full load. I've got this crazy idea that I want to plant buckwheat in the part of the garden that I haven't used, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. I just love this time of day when the shadows are still extending over part of the field and the forest is still cool and dewy, but we're going to have a hot day today. It's going to be nice and warm in the garden. Don't be surprised if you can hear church music in the background because it's Sunday morning and I have CBC radio on in my little cabin there. I think maybe it helps repel the animals, and I actually enjoy the Sunday morning music. But in the background I can actually hear a cuckoo, but you probably can't hear that for all these singers. This is July 5th. We always say things were a little late because this and that, but it's actually looking pretty good. All the potatoes are thriving. Beans had trouble coming up because it was cold in the spring, so I had to replant a little bit. But the pole beans are going to come up. I'll need to add some poles. These here are bush beans, the nice broad Italian kind. I think this morning was the first time I noticed the zucchinis blossoming. You know, and when zucchinis blossom, there's already a little mini zucchini there. And by next Saturday's market, this is Sunday, we will have some zucchinis ready to put on our stand. What else do we have here? Here's how I know there's a groundhog visiting. These sunflowers came up spontaneously, but there used to be a lot more of them. They're being nibbled. The groundhog is not going to nibble the cucumbers and tomatoes, though the deer have gotten to like my tomatoes, so that's why I'm starting to put up fence. My trick that I learned from someone else with deer fencing, it doesn't have to be high. This is not particularly high. This is 4 feet high. I'll add another string down in here. It just has to be narrow. It has to be under 10 feet across because apparently they don't like to jump into an enclosed space, even though they easily could. And I found that that actually works. So I don't need to put up giant high deer fence. Just some low fence with not too much space in between. This is a little marginal. They might jump into there. Every year is a new experiment. So what did I miss here? Oh, carrots and beets came up spottily. I think that's the groundhog's work. I think he was nibbling in there. So what I've done, I don't like to use chemicals. So I purchased some blood meal. The deer especially don't like that, and I think it repels the groundhog too, because I haven't noticed anything new being eaten since I sprinkled that around. I can't smell it, fortunately for me. unless I stick my nose in the bag, which is not advised. I'll just hustle over here and show you the watermelon patch, such as it is, in the long shadow of the cabin. So you saw my watermelons last year if you viewed my video. We are right beside a small private airport. There he goes. I like to see the little planes. We have 4 watermelons here. The 5th was devoured by you-know-who. I did see a groundhog sunning itself in front of my cabin one morning, so I really do think we've got company. But what a beautiful morning. Do you hear the cuckoo? There's also a raven and an ovenbird. So that's our North American black-billed cuckoo. He doesn't sound like a cuckoo clock like the European cuckoo, but he's related. He spends his days in the tops of the trees eating prickly caterpillars, apparently, so that's his niche. We don't have them every year. It suggests it'll be a hot summer. This place under the blue tarp, that's where I want to put my buckwheat, so I'll have to promise you another video to show you how it comes up. Back on the path. Here's the gardener. Oh, I hear the cuckoo again. Back in the front garden, if that makes any sense. Just a few more items for completeness. These are my raspberries, and they're looking good. There was a yellow raspberry here, which is deader than a doornail, but what can you do? But these look like they will be producing some raspberries for me. They've bloomed. So the berries are coming, and I can hardly wait. You can't really tell here, but unless you have a really good eye. But there's a lot of dill coming up there. Dill doesn't transplant very well, and I planted it a bit late, but it always comes along in time to be marketed with the cucumbers. And we have garlic. This is a smaller amount of garlic every year, because in Thunder Bay we now have an insect called the leek moth. So I'm thinning out ones that are affected, and I won't be left with that much. I think in future years I'm just going to grow enough for myself and enough onions for myself, and I'll have to cover it with some sort of row cover to keep those moths out during the peak periods, which I think is basically May to August. It'll be worth it. Some sunflowers a friend gave me to plant, and they've been nibbled by the deer, who like to take the buds off them. And then they make branches and try again. So this beauty is going to be a good sunflower unless the deer just come and, nah. A lot of wildlife this year. These are sprouting broccoli. They're already starting to sprout. Same species as regular broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. All of those are the same species. These are almost like rapini or broccoli rab. They all are very closely akin. And the nice thing about these is they make little florets on long stems, and the stems are not tough. You can cook them like asparagus, and they're yummy, yum, yum. The last couple of things, radishes, should be ready for next week's market. And this is a little late, but that's Swiss chard. And it is gonna fairly rocket up here. I think probably in 2 weeks, believe it or not. It's gonna be big enough to give us some nice veggies. So thanks for joining me on my summer morning. I hear another plane coming, so we'll wrap it up.